Welcome to Taking Care of Lady Business, where we put the business back in lady business. Hosted by Jennifer Justice, founder and CEO of the Justice Department, a management strategy and law firm that works with female and woke male entrepreneurs, executives, talent, brands, and creatives to build and maximize their wealth, focusing in the areas of tech, consumer product, finance, media, entertainment, and fashion. Jennifer interviews entrepreneurial women who have done it all, who will be sharing their secrets on all things business, especially as a woman. These highly successful women will share strategies and insights, including what not to do and what it takes to win. And now, here's your host, Jennifer Justice.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business. We're putting the business back in the lady business. Today, we have a very special guest. It is Rachel Katzman. She is the co-founder of P.volve. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for joining us from the lovely Hamptons. Perfect summertime in the Hamptons. Well, tell everyone, if they don't know already, what P.volve is and how and why it started.
Oh my God. So P.volve really is, a functional movement method that was designed to strengthen, restore, and nourish your body. And this, came about, I was in my early 20s. I was starting to kind of get to know myself. I remember I looked in the mirror one day and I just didn't recognize that person who I was. And I was like, I got to get my shit together. Okay. Like I'm going to start working out. And I lived in New York City and I was kind of going around to all the boutique studios. And I not only couldn't find a workout that really spoke to me, it felt like a chore and I was in a lot of pain. And I found out I had scoliosis, but I still wanted to continue to push through that pain to really achieve these vanity results that I was after. So I bounced around to all the different studios and then I really kind of got introduced to this world of functional movement and I didn't know what that meant, and really started to learn that I didn't have to do these high impact, high intensity workouts to get the results that I was after, how to really lengthen and open my body up and really understand what muscles bringing my leg up and what muscles bringing it down and internal rotations and external rotations and this whole kind of new world. And I quickly saw the physical results that I was after, but more importantly, my pain and my body went away. And I just felt like I had my confidence back and I was like, I felt better than I ever felt in my life. And I just had this light bulb moment of, wow, for women, there isn't really this kind of new way to work out, right? Like the fitness industry really has been dominated by men. And it really has been the same exercises for, decades. And there really should be this kind of new innovative approach specifically designed for women. So, after it changed my life, I was like, okay, like this is what I want to do. It's all I could think about. And so me and my other co-founder at the time, we set out to really launch this small studio. And we had this idea for a fitness product that was our P-ball. And after quickly opening up a really down dirty gym after 6 months, busier and busier and busier. And I was like, okay, we can't scale just with one gym, right? Like we have to put this online and just really down and dirty. I mean, at the beginning, I taught myself how to edit videos and there were no lights, there were no cameras, there were no microphones, and just like wanted to test and see if women would really respond to kind of this way to move their body and the message that we are trying to put out there. And the response was amazing. And, we've been on this roller coaster ever since.
So there is so much to unpack in all of that. Like I want to go back kind of a lot to the very beginning. I mean, what year was it that you had this light bulb moment that you're looking in the mirror and you said, not light bulb, the one that you were like, I don't recognize myself. And what were you doing at the time then?
Oh my God, that probably was like 2014-ish. Yeah. I wasn't really, really doing much. I think I didn't grow up very, active. And, so for me, it really was when I left home to go to college, which I went one day and I was like, this isn't for me. But I think leaving home and just, I think in your early 20s, your body goes through something different. You're not the same as you were in high school, maybe in your teenage years. And so I think it was just really not taking care of myself. And you kind of can't do that as you
Right.
get older. And
Were you in New
so,
York City at the time?
yeah, I was.
And
I
what were you
grew up.
doing for work at the time before you were at that moment?
So I went to school, didn't work out, and then I started just getting internships. And I thought maybe I'd be more in fashion, but bouncing around different internships here and there. But really, once this kind of light bulb moment happened,
Yeah.
I really
Then you
put all my
focused on
energy
that.
into this. Yeah.
No, I love that. I mean, that's what we talk about all the time. Like where women are like, I can't start a business. I don't know it. Or, you know what I mean? Or it's like, I've been trained in this particular way. So how can I pivot over here? And what I really love are stories like these that are like, I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do yet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're like, I looked at like, I got to get my shit together. Okay. My body hurts. And then when were you diagnosed with scoliosis?
That would be like 2015, 16.
Wow. Then that's when you're finding
Yeah.
out you had all this pain. And then that like really helped. What we do as women is often like we can take our passions and we can grow them into businesses and know what we're good at, and the relatability of that. I mean, those are the stories that I think really resonate with everybody because, you
And I
have that.
I think too, looking back, there's something so beautiful in being almost naive in not having that
Yeah.
much experience in a certain field. Like I think about all of just the risks that, just no fear. You just are so determined because you're so passionate and so hungry that you almost have like these, tunnel vision, like blockers
Yeah.
on. And you're just like, I will do whatever it takes to get it done. I don't care if I don't know anything about it. I'm going to teach myself, I'm going to learn, I'm going to fail, and I'm just going to keep on going.
Right. I know one of my favorite quotes, when ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. So,
Yeah, I love that.
yeah, it
Totally.
like helps you move it all forward. All right. So then you're really studying it. You're in pain. So you have a combination of, I got to get my shit together and I'm in pain. And then you decide that you're going to start this gym with your co-founder at the time.
Yeah.
Well, gym, your studio. And then what was this product that you had, the P.volve?
Yeah. So for me, I saw how crowded the fitness market is and
Yeah.
was. And I mean, it's times 10 today than it was
Yeah.
back then. But I really knew and felt that we needed something alongside this kind of new method and new way to work out to really break through the noise. So that's where this, proprietary piece of equipment, and it's an amazing ball. Like think of a Pilates ball, but it has a resistance strap so that if you're standing, it doesn't fall out if you're stepping out or stepping in. And you can, we use it in so many different ways to really target the full body. But it's such an incredible tool to strengthen, the inner thigh muscles, the glutes, the core, work your pelvic floor. And people just responded so well to it. And so, from that, we've created two other pieces of patented equipment. And I think, it's the movements, but it's really the equipment combined with our moves that really give you this, incredible result. And I really think of the method is like we move the body in all different directions and angles so that you're working every single muscle group and you're opening up the body while you're elongating muscles and you're moving through resistance really with our equipment to activate and strengthen every muscle, but while also supporting your joints. So, we like to think of ourselves as kind of the intersection of physical therapy and fitness. There's the
Mhm.
fitness world that's six pack abs, toned arms, and a lifted butt. And I want all those things, right? But there's also this world of physical therapy where it's really, restorative and healing and protecting your joints, protecting your body. And it's, well, why can't I have both? I want to have a lifted butt, but I don't want to break my back while trying to get it. I want
Exactly.
to,
Yeah. That's the dichotomy, right? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, you can go get all of this, yeah, lifted butt, but like at the expense of like killing your joints and not doing the
totally.
exercises properly. I mean, there's classes that, that I've done. And I grew up as a dancer. So I knew, not like, really like, you know what I mean? I danced my whole life. So I know the common things that you're supposed to do, not supposed to do. And there are people who are, you see their posters all over the place, and I've done their classes and I'm like, this is so unsafe for somebody who
Yeah.
does not know, you know what I mean? And I've been super injured in others. And so to the point that I had to go to physical therapy. And I think that is something that what you were saying earlier. And like for women in particular, most of these exercises have men in mind, and we have different
Totally.
bodies, and our bodies are built differently to carry babies and to do different things, you know what I mean? And so, and we have different appendage, we have boobs, you know what I mean? It's like, your back and everything,
It's just
like
different. It's all
different.
different.
And so, we were talking earlier, like how you're really focused on women. So what are the kinds of things that you were seeing that were different, that like from physical therapy, that made you want to combine these two, that were happening to women that weren't being really addressed? And so you guys are addressing them.
Yeah, I mean, I first used my own personal experience, and then as we started to, have other more members and grow our community, and even started hiring other team members, women specifically, hearing their stories and kind of their transformations through this method, I was like, we not only have amazing, credible certified trainers that help us create our content, we should bring on doctors, right? We should actually go and bring on doctors on our board to help us
Yeah.
really with our exercises and with our content. So we have an amazing doctor of physical therapy. She specializes in pelvic floor health, and she actually created, an entire series around pelvic floor strengthening, pelvic floor releasing. She helps create all of our pre and postnatal content. We brought on an OBGYN, and we created an entire program for cycle syncing, all the workouts to do in all 4 phases of your cycle. We're getting ready to release our menopause series. I actually think it goes out today. I don't know the date, but I think
Yay.
it's today. And, we created a series for managing with endometriosis. So we have these very niche specific, pain point workout programs that are all created with doctors. But then you kind of see this infusion of this very opening and stretching and lengthening throughout all of our kind of signature class types as well.
Right. And then, I love that because it's so true, in all those different phases. Like, I had kids, and I was like, I had a C-section, and, it was super hard to like even feel that area of my stomach,
Yeah,
for a very long time. And, your body changes so much during that time, and you're exhausted, and, what worked before didn't work after,
totally.
and now I feel differently, like getting in perimenopause and like menopausal ages, and like it's, my muscle tone and everything is like so important to keep it. So, I think what you're doing is so important to all aspects of a woman's life, and really targeting
And
that.
I think too, as people, and as especially as women, we grow and we adapt, right? Like just like you were saying, like what worked for me a year or 2 years ago, maybe even 6 months ago, isn't
Yeah.
working for me right
Yeah.
now. And what I needed, yesterday isn't what I need today. And I think, there's such a mind body connection with this method. And I think you really kind of get to know your body, and you really can kind of tune in of what do I need today? What is my body asking for today? I was diagnosed with Lyme disease in 2020, yes. And I couldn't work out the same as I used to, right? It was a
Yeah.
whole different shift for me. But it was worked with our trainers, and we started really creating this more restorative and gentle type of movement because my mental state, I still wanted to work out. And I think honoring that, and it's okay that I'm different today, and just knowing, that movement truly can be medicine, and it really can do so much for your body and for your mind. And I think that's really why we wanted to create all of these different types of classes, so that there truly can be something for every woman, no matter what she's going through in her life.
Right. Yeah. Love it. All right. So because we take care of lady business here, I want to get into the aspect of the business, right? So we talked about how like you're kind of bouncing around, not really sure what you wanted to do. And then you started a business. It's not like you had training as it or anything like that.
Mhm.
So, what is really helpful to our audience members are the things that you did right and the things that you did wrong, and like what you used to get to either of them, be it your instinct or mentors or what it is. So can you tell me a little bit about like, okay, I'm going to start this company. Like, how did you know what to do?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family, seen my brother start and fail and start and fail and start and fail. So that was helpful. And I think I was always good at just asking questions,
Yeah.
and when I had this idea, like I knew I didn't have business experience. I knew I needed to find somebody to come along with me. I had the vision, I had the passion, but from an operational standpoint, I had a lot to learn. And I just started asking around and I got connected to Julie, who's the president of P.volve, still with me today. And I convinced her she had an amazing 20-year career. And I convinced her to come and help me do this as like a side hustle. I'm like, just help me get this off the ground. And she ended up leaving her job and now works
Amazing.
with
See, that's
me.
look at that. And those are great too. Those are great stories. There's so many like women that are like, they've had a great career. They're kind of like stuck. They don't know what to do next. They don't really want to be in that patriarchal system anymore. And they're like, what can I do next? How did you
Yeah.
find her? What was her background?
I met her through a family friend that I grew up with back home. And I kind of just started telling, I think at first I was always, I don't want to tell anybody what I'm working
Yeah.
on or what I'm doing till it's out there. Cause then
I'm
what
like
if it
that
doesn't
too.
happen? Right? Like,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
tell
Because
anybody.
you know why? Because everyone will tell you why you can't do it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Or they, oh, you should do it this way. Have you thought
Yeah.
about this? Have you thought
Yeah.
about that? So I think I had to get over that. And once I started putting it out there and telling, people what I'm looking for, oh, I'm looking for someone who maybe specializes in this, or do you have somebody I could talk to about manufacturing? I think then those doors just started to open. And you just take the call. Do you want to talk to this person? Yes, 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 yes. They might know someone, they might be the person. So through a family friend, I got connected to Julie. She lived in Chicago. I flew to Chicago and I just told her my story and my vision. And she's like, I got to come do this with you.
And did she have a
And
background in fitness?
yeah, she
Yeah.
was 20 years, kind of doing more like fitness DVDs and different things like that. But, I think also I say this all the time, like I am so lucky that I found her. She is the most amazing business partner mentor for me. And
Yeah.
that was something really important that I wanted to find strong, females to come on board that really I could learn from. I have
Yeah.
so much learning to do. And I think it was great. They've definitely let me fail a few times because I needed to kind of learn those lessons. But it's been such an incredible journey to really just be able to work under these women and work alongside them.
Right. No, that's, and that's another big thing. And first of all, letting it all out there, letting, people know what you're doing and seeking advice, et cetera,
Yeah.
but also focusing on what you're good at versus other people. And that is really the key to building, right? Is that to delegate and to let others like do what they're great at.
So hard, and I think that's what's so fun about the early stages too, is like you do everything, right? Like you're customer service, you're writing the copy, you're doing everything. And then as the company grows and you start bringing on these people of experience, it's amazing because you get to learn from them. But that's probably been one of the hardest things for me is like,
Letting go. Yeah.
yes, yes, it's so hard.
So when you said that they let you fail, like, would you be willing to talk, like, what, can you give us an example?
I think just whether it be different, language or copy or colors or, things around our videos. But I think there were definitely moments where I thought I knew everything,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like, no, the website needs to look like this and this has to be this way. And, I had to also learn like, yes, it's my vision, but at the end of the day, it's really about what the customer wants. I may think I have the most genius idea and everybody's going to go crazy for this program, but if the customer and our members don't like it, it doesn't really matter what I think.
Right.
Like I can have a great idea and let's test it and try it. And I don't think you should be afraid to try something. Well, can we scale it? If the idea works, you'll figure out how to scale it. But I think that was something I had to kind of learn that it really, my opinion isn't the end all be all. It really
Right.
is here, we're here to make our members and customers happy.
And so when did Julie join? What year?
She came on full time in 2017.
Okay. So right when it started.
Yeah.
And then you guys had the foresight very early on to do online and digital.
Yeah. So we launched
before COVID.
Yeah. I mean, we launched with the studio on-demand platform and our product line and kind of grew it that way. And we always saw this as a very omni-channel, brand of having our equipment line, our on-demand platform, and our studio. We had one studio at the time. We now have 3 owned and operated studios. We just started franchising and sold, 13 franchises so far. So I think, and that definitely was people like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like you're trying to have 3 different business models in one business. Equipment's a business, digital's a business, studio's a business. So, but we really felt that we need all those things. That's what makes P.volve P.volve, yeah.
And so did you launch it all at the same time?
Yep.
And then what made you want to do the online portion, knowing that people were, going to studios at that time?
Online for me is probably really how it all started. We had a small studio and even starting on social media and, reaching women across the world and having people DM and message, can I Skype into a class? Are you putting your videos on YouTube? This sounds very intriguing to me. And it just was like, this method truly is so magical and the results are so powerful that it's not fair to keep this bottled up in downtown New York City. Like, what? No, we have to get this out everywhere and let's put it online. And that's, truly how you can reach so many more people.
And did you see that take off pretty quickly?
Yeah. I mean, I think we had a small community and, it kind of really just grew word of mouth and ended up getting great press. And I think at the beginning too, we gave a lot of stuff away for free, influencers, models, anybody who was in New York that we could kind of get into the studio to just be posting or sending product and gifting product. And I think, we were talking about something new and different and intriguing. And I think our equipment is new and intriguing. And so people wanted to post and talk about it and try it. So it did. Yeah, definitely got some nice traction.
So then you have the 3 studios, which are where?
Chicago, LA, New York.
Perfect. Great cities. And then now instead of you starting your own, you're franchising them out?
Yep. Yeah.
So talk about that, what it is, because, I want to get back to basics. I want to assume that everybody knows, how you franchise and what that means, if you don't mind anyway.
Yeah. I mean, so studio, we had New York and then we were, open Chicago and LA. And then it really was, again, we felt that there's such a need, I feel, when it comes to fitness for that in-person community. Just like there's nothing like going to an in-studio class. I can get a great workout at home, but there's nothing like going into the studio.
Yeah.
And, we really just felt that instead of us taking on, that kind of chapter of building out all of these different studios and hiring all the teams, that we really could get there faster and it would be just more efficient. It would work better for our model to kind of go out and franchise. So we really, you find a franchisee and they come in and then they build it out in whatever kind of territory or cities. And then we really work the way we want to operate, is that we really want to work hand in hand with those people, their partners, and we help train their trainers. And so far, we've sold about 13 that are going to start opening towards the end of this year and early next year. But I think it just worked better for us, given that we do have focuses, on our digital platform and on our equipment line and other things as well.
And so they have to go through this whole thing. So everything is very P.volve. So they use all your assets.
Yeah, there's a whole kind of FDD you have to do, and you have to write a whole training manual, and it took us probably 2 years to kind of be ready to even start going out and selling our franchises. But I think what worked for us was that we had, 4 years really of building this community, where actually the first couple people who bought franchises were our members from day one that have been with us and that are so excited to bring it to their cities. So that's been really amazing to see.
What cities will they be in?
San Diego, Nashville, one is in Victoria, Canada.
Wow.
There's actually 6 coming in San Diego, so that's gonna be a nice little
San
area.
Diego's going to be
3
a whole P.volve city, huh?
Yes, 3 in Nashville. We have a couple kind of like discovery days where people are coming in for Brooklyn and Miami in the next couple weeks. So it's definitely, I'm hoping they'll be all over.
And why
Come,
did you decide the franchise model versus starting them yourself?
it's such a big undertaking. It's a
Yeah.
lot of investment opening studios, and it really is. It's its own business,
Yeah.
and I think for us wanting to scale and scale faster,
Yeah.
it just was not something that we wanted to kind of put our energy and our resources and our investment into, is building out a ton of our owned and operated studios. That we really felt that the franchising model is a great model, and we can find really strong partners, and we felt that would be the most successful for us.
So, because you have one investor, I think you said?
Yeah. Hmm.
Right. Because I mean, that obviously how other people have done it. They raise
Yeah.
so much money and then they have it themselves and they feel like they can own and control everything and then it gets bought and sold. So it's really interesting to hear another model like this. I mean, I think everybody knows that a McDonald's is a franchise model and there's other things like that, but owning everything for yourself versus franchising it, it's just a really great, way to like build something without having to go out and raise much money, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the studios, they're a beast, it's
Yeah.
totally different. It's a totally different kind of mentality than we have to have when we're talking about our on-demand platform. So I think exactly like you said, without wanting to go and raise a lot of capital and kind of give that control away, to build out our owned and operated studios, that we're really excited about kind of this path that we chose.
And will the franchisees have access to the on-demand as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, they will. So we're kind of working out right now, like what that rev share model will look like. But we find that that's also another kind of edge to us, is that their members will have access to our whole on-demand platform.
Amazing. No, it's really inspiring. I love that whole story. And look, you didn't, and I love that like you become this businesswoman after like doing this, learning on the job. And what do you think really like drove you most? What like,
It's funny because if you ask my mom, like when my mom hears me talk about business, she'll start crying because she's like, from the girl who would never go to school and fake sick every single day. And I think I always like was motivated and had this like, oh, this hunger in me, but I didn't know for what, and I
yeah,
think that this truly has changed my life from, back then to even now, that how could I not just like be so excited and so passionate? Like I've had my own transformation with this method, and just honestly listening to all of our members and like how their entire lives have changed. It makes it all worth it. On days
yeah,
that, yeah, it's really fucking hard and I just want to scream and give up. But you read these stories, and every single week at our all hands meeting, we have a member come on and they share their whole story, and everybody's like, this is why we do what we do, and this is why we just have to keep on fighting and keep on pushing through.
right. Because it's not just for the vanity results. It's like,
Yeah.
these are women, working with pain, in
And right,
certain,
their whole lives have changed. I mean,
yeah.
even women who I can now chase my grandkids around without pain. I can jump on the trampoline with my kids. I don't pee in my pants. Like little
Yeah.
things like that, to even, oh my God, my husband just came down and said, like, I've never looked better in my entire life. Or I just went away for my 40th birthday. And I feel like just all these, different things. And I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
It never gets old.
No, I know. I mean, I was dealing right before COVID. I had a frozen shoulder and I did not. And, of course it was like, oh, go to a doctor and he's like, oh, just like a rotator cuff, issue, go to PT. PT is like, and I couldn't, nothing at all was helping. And I'm paying all this money,
Yeah.
and then I was like, that's enough. It was probably a month before COVID. And I did all this research and found out that it's a symptom of perimenopause.
Oh my
And
God.
I found this guy, and this woman had just written an article. I am telling you, probably the day before, how she found this guy, Upper East Side Hospital Special Surgery. And he knew that this was an issue, but no, no one was really listening. And he basically has a saline solution. He, with a big needle, puts it in there, and then you can move it. I couldn't put my bra on. You don't understand, when you can't move your shoulder, we wear bras. I couldn't put a bra on. I couldn't, definitely not a sports bra, and it was just it was debilitating, and nothing was, and literally the male doctor, it's a rotator, no x-ray, no anything. They go like this. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, what? And it literally overnight. Now, afterwards, of course, it says, keep moving it, whatever. It was literally, and I think I got it done the 11th of March. The world shut down on the 15th. I would have been miserable. And then I keep telling everybody. And then, I had to go to PT later just to keep it moving. They would be like, I've never heard of this. I would tell them the doctor. They would not ask for the number. It's because you want people to continue coming to you, and you're not going to help them because this is the issue,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually really great to see, I think a lot of these topics are now being talked about versus they weren't a couple of years ago. Everything from perimenopause to postmenopause to cycle syncing to pelvic floor health, that wasn't a topic of conversation a couple of years ago. Now it's kind of it's so amazing that it's everywhere, and there's all of these alternative solutions for women, and I think I'm hoping that the next, phase is going to be more of these doctors actually prescribing movement or prescribing alternatives to, versus take this antibiotic, take these pills, let's get this shot. Why don't you get surgery?
Well, I mean, what I do love about the shot was it was saline solution, which is a natural solution. And it was you just need to lubricate it and get it moving again and show the joint where to go and the muscle. And I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy, Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing worse than feeling when you have pain in your body and not feeling in control of your body. It just, so debilitating.
Yeah, totally debilitating. This is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And I love that you've been on this, journey, and that you found a passion and you made that passion into a business, and it's a thriving business, and it's obviously massively growing business, in particular in San Diego, lucky city. But, going through this and you found this great partner in Julie, who is your business side to your vision side. But in all of this, as women, we often, whether or not it's meant to be, get a lot of really bad advice. So the one thing I ask everybody on this show is, what is the worst advice you've ever received?
It's a hard one because you never think of it that way, right? You always think of the best advice. I think the worst advice was to not kind of pursue these 3 different avenues, which were our equipment line, our digital, and this, studio franchise model. It was just pick a lane and stick in the lane and be really good at the lane and just focus in on that lane. And, for a minute, it was shit, are we biting off too much? Is this?
Yeah.
And then it was no, this is who we are. This is what we launched with. This is P.volve. No. And I'm so happy that we never took that advice.
Yeah, because it was a very uncommon way to do it. You start with one MVP product and then you add on to it. So to do it all, and to do it the time you did, not knowing what the future is going to hold, is insane. Because so many people tried to pivot into it from fitness online, and it was just you could see, Peloton was before, right? But SoulCycle tried to catch up and didn't even come close, and just all those dynamics. So, kudos to you and congrats on all this. And thank you so much for coming on today. So people want to find you and P.volve. How do they do it?
You can find P.volve, P.volve.com, at P.volve on social, and I am at R. Katzman.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This was great. To everyone listening, please subscribe, tell us what else you want to hear about. Until next time, I'm Jennifer Justice.